Okay, to start today's lesson, which is going to shift gears just a little bit, you're going to solve this problem on your own and remember the steps that you take. Try to remember what you did first and second and so on. All right, in order to solve this correctly, you have to follow something called order of operations, meaning which operation, which symbol, math symbol, am I going to solve for first? So we have to follow some rules. Here are those rules. First, we have to perform operations within grouping symbols first, and I showed those here. Parentheses and brackets, okay? Multiply and divide in order from left to right. So if multiplication in your problem comes before division, going from left to right, then you do that first. If division comes first in your problem, going from left to right, then you do division first, whichever is on the left. Then finally you add and subtract in order from left to right. So following these rules of grouping symbols, multiply and divide, add and subtract, let's go back and solve. So the first rule is grouping symbols. We don't have any in this problem. So we don't have anything for step 1, grouping symbols telling us what to do first. So we go to step 2, multiply and divide, moving from left to right. So I have addition, here's my multiplication. So I'm going to solve that first. So 3 times 6 is 18. Then I bring down the rest before I move on to my next step. I also always go back and check that I completely finished the step before. So I was on step 2, multiply and divide. Do I have any more multiplication and division? Nope. So now I can move on. All that's left is to add, which is the third step, and 18 plus 4 would be 22. If we did it the other way, we would not get 22. So you have to make sure you do the correct operations first. Okay, we're gonna try another one together. So if you have 2 times bracket, let's see, 5 plus 2 times 4 plus 2 bracket times 3. Okay, here's our problem. We're going to try it together. So first step, grouping. That's our parentheses and brackets. So we have some of those this time. So I'm going to go and find my brackets and go within that. Well, I have a whole bunch within that. Well, within that, I also have parentheses. So that's my very first because it's inside the brackets, then it's a parentheses inside the brackets. So that is 7. So then, like I said, I then bring everything I haven't used down to continue solving. So did I solve everything within that parenthesis? Yes, so the parentheses don't get brought down. Did I solve everything in the bracket? No, so the bracket comes down with me. All right, next one. We're still with grouping because there's still a grouping symbol and not everything's done in here. So within that grouping symbol, I have to follow the rest because it's not like this one only had one. So we have two problems here. We have to figure out which one we do first. So then I look at 2. Multiply and divide from left to right. So do I have a multiplication or division? Sure do. 7 times 4. So what is 7 times 4? Oops, those should have been there. 7 times 4, 28. So we have 2 times. Am I done with the bracket? No, because I have that 2 that has not been solved with yet. 2 times 3. You want to make sure you keep everything organized. So still within the bracket because there's still grouping symbols. So within that bracket, there's only one problem left. So there's 30. Now everything in the bracket has been solved, so I do not bring the bracket down anymore. And I just followed step 3, which was add and subtract from left to right. So now I have 2 multiplication problems and I need to figure out which one I do first. So I'm done with all my grouping. So I have fully done step 1. Now I'm on to step 2, multiply and divide from left to right. So all I do is read it just like I'd read a book from left to right. And from left to right, I come to 2 times 30 first. Since they're both multiplication, I don't have to worry about that. So 2 times 30, which is 60, and then times 3. Is all that's left. So 60 times 3, we know 60 and 60 would be 120. So 60 more would be 180. So our answer after all that work, step by step, is 180. Okay, I know it seems very tedious and very time consuming to show each step, but when you do it and you can see the steps and it's clear and concise, that's when you're going to be more accurate. We're going to try one more, but this time it's going to have the answer. And I want you to think about where we could place grouping symbols, so either brackets or parentheses, to make this equation true. So it's 14 minus 3 plus 2 divided by 3 equals 3. So we're going to add brackets and parentheses to try to make that true. Share some ideas now. Okay, so you might have come up with bracket, divided by 3. So I would then use the grouping symbols first. There's 2 equations in the grouping symbol. That's why there's then a parenthesis. So that's 5. So I have 14 minus 5 still in brackets. We're trying to make this true, so we want to get this to equal 3. So we have 14 times 5 because I'm still in the grouping symbol. Okay, 14 minus 5 is 9. Divided by 3 equals 3. I no longer bring the grouping symbol down because I've solved everything in it. So 9 divided by 3, is that 3? Yes, so we've then made it true. Okay, you're going to be practicing some of these in your workbook today. Be careful if they are asking you to solve it like we did the first one, or to add grouping symbols like parentheses and brackets to make the statement true.